right. I say all right too much. Every video clips. This is something I'm going to learn. Every video clip in the history of the series of the off-grid lockdown challenge starts off with me going, all right, or okay. So I got to stop doing that, because when you have 32 clips in a row and everyone's like, all right, here I am at the garden. All right, I'm walking down to the office. So I'm getting better. I think by day 6, I don't say it as much, but it used to be a running joke because we used to film all my sermons, and then every one of them started with all right. So at least I wasn't all right, all right, all right. Hello, everybody. It is the 25th of April, 7 p.m. Central Time. And I want to say hello to, looks like Michigan, Kentucky, Montana. Hello, everybody. Come in and say hi. Make sure you smash the like button. You got to do that. And I got a lot of stuff to talk about today. It's been an interesting Sabbath for me. Day off. No, I say no work like throughout today's video, but that's kind of, it's situational. Hello, Ohio. Hello, Southwest Missouri. And so, so like I don't know when Danielle's not here and nobody's here, it's just me. I don't like let the dishes build up usually, but I was going all day long for 5 days, and then I had to get the dishes done today so that I could get something done tomorrow. Critters still got to get fed. That's a lot of hauling water. It's a lot of hauling feed. That's a lot of I checked eggs every hour. I think so far I've caught 3 that I suspect of egg eating. 2 of them I know. One of them is just a suspect. And I think we got all the chickens but one back in the pen. So it was a good day. A lot of stuff going on out there in the world. Weird, wild. The whole political divide is just laughably comic now. And how everybody thinks, people can hear the same sentence, and they are so vastly separated in the interpretation of that sentence, solely based on the politics they brought in to listening to the sentence. And so to me, that shows you where we are. And so, yeah, the thing is, it's like, supposedly, and I just say supposedly because I'm not taking any positions on this. You guys know me. I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm not an expert on virology or any of that other stuff. All I'm saying is, supposedly we got this pandemic going on. Supposedly, like, everybody's going to get it and 1 million, 2 million people are going to die. And the best thing we have to argue about is a sentence that the president said or didn't say. It's hilarious if it wasn't so serious. And I'm not taking one side to task. I'm taking both of them to task. It's just tiring. So I don't even want to talk about that. I want to talk about what you guys want to talk about. I got things that I want to talk about, but I'm here for you. And I was explaining that on today's video. By the way, who's got 2 thumbs and fixed the solar power? This guy. So I did that today because I was procrastinating because I did not want to do the dishes. There were so many dishes. There's a philosophy here in the bunker world to keep in mind. Normally, when I'm here by myself, I just like use a plate, and I don't know what that was. I use a plate and the silverware and the knife, and I eat whatever I'm eating, and then I go wash them off and I put them back. So then I never have the moment where I'm like, oh, I got to do all these dishes. Because it ain't like just you guys just like rinsing them off and putting them in a machine that washes them for you and heats them and boils them or whatever it does. When you got to do it, you got to heat up water, and you got I do like 5 or 6 plates, and then that that wash water is too dirty for me, so I go throw it out, and then I got to get new hot water. So then what happens is you build up this call reluctance. What we in the old days in sales they used to call it call reluctance, where you don't want to do it. So you find other things to do. So what I found to do today is I did like all the knives and forks, and then I walked walked down the office, and then I started working on a solar trailer. And I ended up replacing 3 full cables. Just completely had to homemade cables for it, and then I got it going. The funny thing is, the last 3 days it was blue skies, not a cloud in the sky, just boiling hot. And then today there was a cloud bank, and the line was right over my house. So we got moderate solar today, but we got some. The solar trailer's fixed. Hold on, let me read the comments real quickly. Greetings, Plain Jen. Nancy said she was weak today. I got on the political post. Yeah, you got to stay out. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. Forgot to send a letter today. Yes, I got a mail today from Nancy. Loved it. Made it into the video. So far, I've gotten 2 cards in 5 days. So I hope some more is coming, because it absolutely lifts my spirits to know that I'm not alone. Nancy said she ran out of stamps. You better call stamps.com. I don't know even what they do. I wash dishes by hand. I don't even know how to use a dishwasher. I know how to use one, and I don't mind. I mean, if I had one, I just don't want to pay for it, any of the, all that stuff. But, it's just, to me, once I let things build up, then I don't want to do it. And so then I don't do it. And so then it builds up more. There's a principle to that I could do a whole show on that. I mean, you get the basics. Everybody knows the basics, but there's even more to it. There's even more to it than just the surface of, the reluctance to do something because it seems like it's going to be a big deal. Because it goes in directly to our topic for today, which I'll get to later. And that is, the things that are good for you are hidden in the thing that you need to be doing, but you're not doing. And I talked about that on Facebook the other day, but that's a fact. Yes. All right. Chemtrails. I think you mean chemtrails, but chemtrails may be a thing too. I have no idea. All right. We sent you some joy today. Yes. Love joy. All right. So here's the thing. What else went on today? So you guys know in the adventure of, I thought it was 2 chickens, and I thought it was 4. Then I think it was 6 chickens that like would never go back into the pen at night. They go into the trees, they roost there. So you can't trap them in the hen pen, the chicken pen, because they don't ever go in there. So I caught one on video yesterday, me catching that thing. And then so today, I think there was 4 left or 5 left. We're out. I can't remember. So today I remembered, and it was just, I don't know why I didn't remember it before, but there was these 2 hens that were running around outside the pen. And I remembered that Sarah trained, he's over there laying down, I'm going to say his name, Rascal, to, you're all right. She trained him to chase the chickens down and just pin them. He doesn't hurt them. He catches them, and then he just holds on them until you get there. And I totally forgot about that. And just offhand, I said, go get the chicken. And he took off, and he caught one of them, and he ended up catching 2. He doesn't hurt them. He just holds them. And so, man, what a good dog you are. You're a good dog. So he caught 2. And then I think I got 1 or 2 of them to just walk in, because I just left the gate open for a minute while the other ones were eating, and they walked in there. So I think we still got 1 that's not in there. So that was an adventure, and it was an excitement, and it was a fun. And so the one that's out, I did not have a camera set up to get Rascal catching that one. So I'm going to do that, Lord willing, tomorrow. I'll get it on video of Rascal catching that chicken that's still out. So I go in there every hour to check the eggs so that I can if I can catch any egg eaters or whatever. So we did pretty good on eggs today. This seems kind of boring. People thought that this was a survival challenge. I thought you were going to be like making alligators out of baling wire. I do all types of impressions. You guys could call them out. I do all. That was my Southern Louisiana Cajun. I thought you guys was out there catching rattlesnakes with your bare hands. That's kind of Louisiana, maybe a little bit South Carolina. Here, I've been feeling bad for you being alone, and you got Rascal. No man is ever alone. If it wasn't for Rascal, I would just things would not probably be as good as they are because he's a good dog. And the thing with both of the dogs, and I only have one here. Danielle's got one with her. Is I did not want them at all because I'm not into pets. I just don't like feeding an animal unless he's doing work. But see, now Rascal's doing work, but he's been very he's been very helpful, and he wants to be wherever I am. So like I took off to come down here, and I left him up there, and he showed up about 5 minutes ago. He whines at the door, so I let him in, and he's over there. I can't show him to you, but he's over there laying. He's got his own chair, and he's just laying there looking at me because he knows I'm talking about him. So anyway, so that was a victory today. I got okay. So here's the FedEx experience. I'm not giving away the whole episode. I probably am, but the FedEx guy showed up at 6 o'clock, and I've had the worst experience with FedEx. This was actually a good one, and I got the GoPro. I got the GoPro in. It's over. That's what chirped just a minute ago. It's over there charging, and it's wanting me to do something. But I can tell you just by looking at it, when I looked at it for 5 minutes before I had to get on here and start doing my work, and I can tell you it's a billion times better than this fake GoPro Chinese. This thing, don't ever order one of these things. It's called a DB Power. DB Power. It's backwards to you probably. Fake GoPro, garbage. And so I'm really excited, and it's actually got the frame that goes on it, so you can like attach it to your chest piece, or your you wear this head strap, and there's all different stuff you can do with it. And so I'm really excited about it. You can attach it in the car, so like when I do use the truck, and it's got like a blown head, not head gasket, blown like exhaust manifold gasket or something, and it's like pop, pop, pop. It sounds like the Beverly Hillbillies. You know, and so anyways, I can have the camera in there. It's just cool. It's just like everything goes up a dimension. And I know people are saying, oh, we don't want your show to be highly produced because we like it to be raw. And I get that. I get it. It's still going to be just as raw because it's me. But there's things I would like you to see that you're never going to see because I don't have the capability with bad equipment to film it. There's some beauty. There's some cool things. Like the other day, I'm walking down. This was day 2. And I was running into snakes all over the place. So I wanted to grab this snake, and I had my hands full. I had a camera in one hand, and I had a package, something else in the other hand. So I ended up catching it, and that was the picture I used for the thumbnail. Not catching the snake, catching it on camera. But I wasn't able to like pick it up and show it to you. But if I just had a head camera on, bam, snake handling. Come on, people. Come on, people. All right, so everything's going well. Today was kind of a day off, so it was a laid back episode. You know, catching chickens and the GoPro and whatnot. I'm excited about the GoPro. Here's where I'm behind. I was hoping to have the garden fenced this week. It's probably going to be another 4 or 5 days before I get the garden fence. But I got I got alternative plans just because it's taking a long time. And so we're still on schedule for Monday premiere for the first episode. Lord willing, we'll be able to get an episode out every day, or if not every day, then maybe one day skipped here and there. But the episodes are going to start coming out, Lord willing, on Monday. So I'm behind on the garden. I didn't get to make the sauerkraut yet, which was supposed to be a project for today. That's pushed off until tomorrow. That's pretty much catching me up. I'm looking forward to Monday too. So, by the way, so I started the Bunker Nation Facebook page. If you're not on there, go to Facebook, look up Bunker Nation, the group, and send an app, whatever. Apply to get in. I mean, unless you're obviously a scammer, you get in there. And so, because what I'm going to do is you can do watch parties. So on Monday night, 7 p.m. Central, write it down. We're going to do a watch party. So I'll be there with you while you're watching it and we can chat. Okay. I think that's how it works. The other option is to do it here on YouTube. So I don't know which one of those I'm going to do, but I'll let you know before then. Right. So, so that's the Bunker Nation Facebook page, Facebook group. Please go join there. Smash the like button here. Make sure you're subscribed. Still like 55% of the people that are, man, these likes. One of these days, I'm going to have this nice backdrop. And I won't just have to constantly move the camera because of the glare on my face. You see, I've got some sun. So, another thing, I hate to just be spilling on you guys, but here's the thing. So, I got this real bad allergy reaction that's been going on, and it's been so bad. And the first half of the day was horrible. But I found something, and I'm not saying it cures it. I'm not saying it does anything to it other than it makes it not itch so that I'm not scratching it all the time. And this is some stuff that Pat, I don't know if Pat's on here. She might have said, yeah, she's here. This is called the Body Shop Hemp Moisturizer. Expert care for ultra dry skin. I'm not getting paid by any of these people. I have no sponsors. So this stuff right here works. And I did put a link of this in the description down below. You can buy it at Amazon. But for some reason, if I start feeling that, and I can tell you the desire to scratch is it itches so bad. And then I put some of that on there, and man, it works. It's gangbusters. I've also been wearing a mask today most of the time as I walk around, and people are like, oh, someone saw somebody in their car and they were wearing a mask, and are they stupid? I'm here on 40 acres by myself. I was wearing a mask because of my allergies, and it's actually been helping. So, yeah, I got a little bit of sunburn going on too, but I need the vitamin D, not so much the sunburn. All right, you planning to do garlic again sometime? I am. Lord willing, we'll get that started this fall. That's the best time to plant garlic around here, and I'm going to put in a bunch. Lord willing, unless who knows, man? Who knows what's going on in the world? Unless we got martial law, or as some people write it on Facebook, marital law. I don't know what we're going to have. I don't know because I'm not an expert, but what I do is prepare. I prepare is what I do. All right, you guys got questions or comments? Type them in because I want to talk about what you want to talk about. I do have my topic, and people might be sitting around going, just get on to the rant. Start your rant already, but maybe they're not. Maybe they're like, you know what, I want to talk. The great question yesterday was, what was your favorite thing that happened today? What made you happy today? See, that was a great question. You know what a great question is like, hey, if you had any resources in the world, what would you get to make this better? Or here's a good question: what are the things that you've discovered that you would not want to do without, but you can't make? So store-bought stuff that you would not want to do without. Yes, I sound real excited. What am I most looking forward to? I'm really looking forward to making beer. I'm really looking forward to So the other day I went fishing, you guys saw, and I caught a fish. I was only up there for 5 minutes. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to get up. I got to do the things I got to do early in the morning, but as soon as the sun starts coming up, that's when they bite. I'm going to go up there. I'm going to spend 30 minutes and see if I can catch a mess of fish. So I love to fish. I'm not a fisher person, but I love to fish. And so hopefully that's going to happen. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to actually, getting this fence done. The bigger task. So the way I arrange this, I explained this on the video the other day, but I want to explain it to y'all. If people don't know what they're doing, see, most people have not lived this way for 15 years. Even these people that pretend like they're experts on Facebook and online, who most of the people teaching something in any field in the world are newbies at it. That's just a fact. And I found that in every category of anything that I've ever gathered expertise in. The people who are, and this is a side rant. So when you get on most YouTube channels, when they're saying, here's how you do a figure four trap, they just learned that by watching other YouTube videos. You know when somebody's been doing that all their life or for a long time. Every category of anything I've ever been in, the people who are the most into it are teaching it have not been doing it very long. And so that's kind of one of the things that you run into. So there's a lot of people on Facebook who are talking about, uh, preparedness, and they got preparedness websites, they got survival homesteading groups. A lot of them aren't even living that way. They want to. That's how they got interested. They're reading books and like, I'm going to start a group, and then they get 30,000 people on their survival deal, and none of them know what they're even talking about. So my whole point in saying that is that unless you know what I know, then the order that I'm doing things might be confusing to people. So I try to stop and explain it. Why did I only plant squash so far? Squash is the fastest growing southern crop for where we are that produces a lot of food very quickly. That's high in nutrition. That's, you can can it and all that kind of stuff, and it's fast. The only other thing I would have put in at the same time, if I had the beds ready and the fence ready, is the green, not like lettuce and stuff, but the greens like turnip greens, collard greens, and all that. They also grow very fast in the South, and you can can them and you can use them for animal feed. So I'm going to get those in as soon as we can. So it seems weird to some people that I'm not like really, really gung ho running into doing some things. But the things that take the longest to produce are the things I'm doing first. So I want to get things planted. I want to get beer made. I want to get kraut made because I want you to see the results of those things within these 30 days, right? All right. Fishing, you mean drinking Dr. Pepper and smoking cigars while holding a fishing pole? I like that whole thing except the Dr. Pepper. I love Dr. Pepper, but I don't drink sodas anymore. I stopped drinking sodas 25 years ago, unless they have bourbon in them or something like that. I just don't drink. I just don't like sugar. I don't say, I'm not saying I like sugar. I don't like to eat sugar. So that's kind of what that deal was like. All right. So where was I? I went off on a little mini rant about most of the people that are experts in the world are not, because they don't know what they're talking about. And I'm not being, I'm not saying this as a pejorative. I'm saying there's people that get excited about something and they become insta experts. And because nobody else knows anything about the topic, the people that know 1 inch of the topic are the default experts, and they're the ones that are telling everybody. So you hear these things, especially in a survival preparedness a genre, that are just not true, but they are like urban myths. And these people keep handing, but they don't really know. That's what they learned about that thing, so that's what they're telling people, right? And so a lot of times you'll see me dismiss something, and it's not because I'm trying to be rude or something like that. I'm dismissing it because that's really just that's not a thing, you know. All right, so let's get to the topic. Why this is what they call a rhetorical question. Why are modern people, I would say Americans, my chair is really, really loud. Why are modern people so, uh, why do they avoid hardship and stress at such an extreme level? Why is modern society designed around the elimination of stress and hardship? By stress, I'm not using the modern sense of stress being anxiety and pressure, um, depression, all that. Stress. The word stress today is not. I'm not using it in that sense. Stress being physical exertion, your body being pushed beyond its bounds, its normal comfort bounds. Why are we a people that avoid discomfort and hardship at all costs? Now, you guys have heard me talk about this before. One of the great big irritations for me in participating in social media is, and I'm trying not to say idiot, so my wife's not sitting at home eating chocolate every time I say idiot. One of the big distressors for me is when I hear people say things like, "Well, I couldn't live without air conditioning. I would just want to die. I would just rather die." Um, I'm not going to do any of this preparing stuff. If things get bad, I'll just die. I just rather die. I'm not going to. Somebody wrote, "I'm not going to go out and buy toilet paper while everybody else is buying toilet paper. If it gets that bad, I'd just rather die." Here's the thing: no, they wouldn't. They are always lying. 100% of the time, when someone says, "I don't want to do this thing that would be uncomfortable or distressing to me. I would rather die," or, if they kill me, they kill me. If I die, I die. That is never true. The people who refuse to prepare, who refuse to take responsibility for themselves and their families, the ones who throw their entire future, their entire safety, their entire survival, their entire freedom in the hands of government or whoever they is who are going to fix something, those people never just die. They never just curl up and die. What they do is they start demanding that their government comes in and fixes everything. Right? So they don't want to be under any stress because as a mechanism, as an animal mechanism, they are incapable of existing outside of the 72-degree womb, artificial womb, the matrix that has been created for their existence as a consumer. So they have this little consumer womb they live in, and they consume and they peck whatever dot the government gave them to peck or the boss gave them to peck. And they do not want any stressors. All right. They do not want anything to cause them to be uncomfortable. Here's the problem. And I'm not speaking about this in a Darwinian sense. So please do not let your mind drift off into something that is beyond the scope of what I'm talking about. The human mechanism is improved by stress. It's called the hormetic effect. And I've been talking about it for 20 years. A lot of it is instinct. I have always known that it is better for the human creature, the individual, to go through 4 seasons, if there are 4 where you live, and to experience extremes of cold and heat and dry and wind and the things that are outside, than to be in an egg or a bubble of 72 degrees 24/7, 365 days a year. And people will message me and I'll say, "Man, it's hot today." You're like, "You want to try it here? It's 95% humidity and it's 1,000 degrees." Yeah, and you're in the air conditioner and you walk from your air conditioned house for 30 seconds to your air conditioned car to go to your air conditioned office. They do the same thing when I go, it's cold, and it's like 40. Like, oh, we live up here in Canada and it's minus 5 billion Farfignugan right now. Man up, Buttercup. And you're living in a central heated house and you're not out there in the cold. So don't even begin to tell me that you are. As a human species, a human individual, the hormetic effect is that when your body is under physical, environmental stress, it becomes stronger. I said yesterday, you lose fat when you're cold. And so your body, in trying to govern itself, does not want to be under stress, which means it doesn't want to depart from 98.6 degrees or whatever the body's supposed to be. And so it adapts and it challenges itself. So when you're working out, and you run into this a lot when you start working out, like I have been doing this year, you have to put your body under stress so that it breaks down muscle tissue and it breaks down things and it consumes the bad stuff and it rebuilds it with stronger, better stuff. Autophagy is the process of your body ridding itself of old dead cells and mitochondria and damaged cancer, all these kind of things, and replacing it with new healthy cells. That's autophagy. This is science. I'm not making up words. And autophagy happens when your body is starving or when you're fasting. When you go over 16 hours in a fast, that begins autophagy. Your body begins to consume itself, but it does not consume healthy cells. It consumes damaged, old, dying, diseased, broken cells that don't have the ability to defend themselves. And it's called autophagy. And it's part of the hormetic effect. When your body is under stress, it improves. It learns that stress and it doesn't want to go through that again. So it improves itself to better handle it. That's why when you lift weights, you constantly have to add weight. You have to increase the stress. People that exist in climates where they undergo severe temperature changes live longer, they're healthier, they're generally not as obese. And even the ones that have lots of body fat, like you might have up in the north, if you don't live inside in central air and you eat a lot of a fatty diet, they live longer. You should experience extremes of temperature, not for 5 seconds while you're walking to the car, but for long periods of time. And so let me bring it back down to the original topic. Why is it that people don't want that? Because they are unviable creatures. They're unviable. For those people who believe in Darwinianism, why in the world would you ever support anything that would extend the life of unviable creatures? And it's funny, and I don't want to get off into a political thing. The things they consider unviable are viable in their natural sense, but the things that they consider viable themselves are unviable. There's a reason that even the experts who examined what would happen if we had a massive solar flare or a massive EMP that knocked out the power system basically for a long-term period, for years, we would possibly see a 90% die-off of humans because of the lack of electrical power. Now, there was no electrical power on the earth until 100 and something years ago. I mean, the first however many long years you think we've been here, there was none, and people did fine. If a solar flare happened in 1851 Nobody would have died because of the solar flare. But now, if we have a massive solar flare that knocks out the grid system, we could end up with 90% casualties. And that's according to experts. It's in my book, Wick. My favorite conditions to deer hunt is when the wind blowing while it's raining, sleet, or snowing in January. Every sense is magnified. Yeah. Even the misery of poor conditions ought to bring to your mind that it is a growth. It not only the adventure I talked about yesterday, it's an adventure, but it's something that causes you to grow. Once you've been through something, to go through it again is not that big a deal. If you haven't camped out at minus 20, minus 30, minus 40 degrees without traditional gear, to think that you might have to do that would be a brutal mind siege. But when you've done it, you just do what you have to do and you get by. Why did so many people make it through so many rough times? Armies crisscrossed Europe for 100 years or more, probably 500 years, but destroyed everything, burned homes, stole all the food. You got an army going this way, then you got this army going this way, and this army going this way, and they ravaged the farms, took the males to go fight, and yet people are still here. The strongest people, the strongest humans, are the ones that are the closest to the soil and the closest to the natural rhythms of seasons, temperature, growing things, and all of that. Mr. Bunker, have you heard the spiteful mutant thesis of Dutton and Woodley? No. You can send me a link through, don't put it on here, but send me a link through Facebook or through YouTube Messenger or something like that, and I'll look into it. I have no idea what that is. Many elderly deaths are related to falling down because they have lost muscle mass. It would only take about 2 weeks of exercise to gain enough muscle mass to prevent falling. Yeah, absolutely true. Absolutely true. Most and I'm not a person that sits there and go, I'm worried about aging. You know, I'm not at all, because I know the whole process from beginning to end, how it goes and all that. My recent workout weight loss has absolutely zero to do with a midlife crisis or me being worried about aging. It has 100% to do with the fact that I felt horrible all the time. I hated wearing my clothes. I could not sleep at night. My liver and my kidneys hurt all the time. And I just hated the fact that when I was trying to video myself walking 20 feet, my breathing was so heavy that I thought I was going to drop dead. So wanting to be healthy, and then the whole movie part thing is why I've been doing this. By the way, official weigh-in is tomorrow morning, but unofficially I'm 6 pounds from having lost 100 pounds. All the people I know who live forever spend all their life either working or spending their time out in the yard and garden. Yeah, you know, and it's true. There are no guarantees, but your odds go way up if you are active and if you move. And walking is the number one thing you can do. Number one thing you can do. I've listened to exercise physiologists and everything else. The number one thing you can do, even if you're a bodybuilder, even if you're a marathon runner or were a marathon runner, the number one thing you can do is walk for to benefit your body. I'm drinking green tea. So 40 minutes ago when we started this and I said, hey, I hit 24 hours on this fast. I fast every week, sometimes twice. And this is a 36-hour fast. My allergy eyes are pretty bad, but 36-hour fast, so it'll end at 7 o'clock in the morning. I could explain all the process, and maybe I will some point, but that's what's going on right now. And I'm just drinking some green tea. Um, no AC in Montana, but I think the Lord for Ryobi fan with a battery a few times. Yeah, I always thank the Lord for a fan with a battery. It's There are other ways, and I showed some of them on the video when it was 90 degrees yesterday. Other ways to stay cool, but what? Green tea is from polluted China. China, is that what you're trying to say? There's nothing that you can do that somebody's not gonna. Yesterday was all the canned meats got cancer. Anyways, I'm drinking green tea and I'm enjoying it. How many acres of land do you think is enough for survival for a family of four? Five is enough. More is better, but five is plenty. You just have to do a lot of intensive. The biggest thing about acreage is that you uh, depending on what animals you want to have. So, like with 5 acres, you're not going to have cattle because you're going to be using a quarter acre or so for your homestead plot. You need to probably have a quarter acre or so in intensive gardening, and then you're going to need some fields that you're either going to plant and grow things for feeding your chickens or whatever. You might be able to keep a milk cow, but if you just keep one milk cow, then you run out of milk cows because you can't have a. Then you got to have a bull, and you're going to have a calf for part of the year. You could do that on 5 acres, but only if you're spending a portion of your land producing so much food that you can feed those animals. So, and it really depends. If you're talking about being a sustenance farm, most people I recommend do not have cattle on 5 acres, but you could have goats, you can have sheep, not a bunch, but enough to keep yourself in milk or whatever meat. Rabbits, definitely. Chickens, absolute. Chickens are mandatory. But 5 acres there's a book was came out probably I don't know 40s or the 50s called 5 Acres and Independence. Highly recommended if you can find it. But now you're able to do a lot more intensive gardening on a smaller. There's people that are making enough food to feed 50 people on just an acre or two. So that's all. People, we've learned a lot about ways to keep the soil healthy rather than the ways they used to do things with row cropping and all that kind of stuff. So that's generally what I would expect. If you're out there, if you're looking to make your family independent, start with 5 acres. And of course, if you can add more, then you can add things like cattle. The problem that most people make is not so much in the species that they choose, but it's in um, the type of the species. So, for example, most people go out there and they want a Jersey to milk or they want a Holstein to milk for a milk cow. Those are great for factories, but they are not the best thing for a homestead. You want a animal that is as close to an indigenous creature for your area, and also one it doesn't produce the most. You don't need 10 gallons of milk a day. That's great to get, but the trade-off for 10 gallons of milk is your animal only lives 5 or 6 years, maybe seven, and you have to pay vet bills because they're not natural. They have been created by humans to be milk factories. And so I'm just using cows as an example, but this is true of chickens. This is true of pretty much every type of animal. You have these huge chickens who don't live very long, don't produce very long, but they produce a lot of eggs for a short amount of time. The eggs are not as nutritious, but you can go and get some older breeds, some heritage breeds, and that will produce fewer eggs in the year, but they will produce for a lot more years. And they will also get broody so you can hatch out more, right? Modern chickens don't get broody. Very rarely do they get broody. And it's same for every species, right? So I have pure longhorns. Now, people see or hear longhorns. I've seen a longhorn, or UT longhorn. None of those are Longhorns. There's only about 4,500 pure Longhorns in the world, and you never need a vet. You can keep 3 Longhorns on the same amount of land you can keep 1 commercial cow. They can be milked. They don't produce a lot of milk, and their milk is more like goat milk, so it's healthier, but it's not. There's not a lot of fat in it. And but see, those a pure Longhorn will produce offspring for 30 years. 30 years. If you go out there and get an Angus, they may produce 8. A really, really productive one produce 7 or 8 in their entire, and they're going to be dead at 10 years old, less than 10 years old. 3 times longer. They could produce 28 to 30 offspring, a Longhorn cow, in their life. Even more. We have Longhorns on this property that are I mean, we've been here for 15 years, and they were 3 or 4 years old when we got them. And they're still producing a calf every year. And like I said, you can keep 3 on the same amount of land, and you don't have to feed them. You don't feed them anything. They eat cactus, they eat brush, they eat everything. You know, if you milk them, you're going to get half a gallon to a gallon on a milking instead of 5 gallons. But how much milk do you need? And the milk is healthier. So is the meat. I'm not selling Longhorns. I'm just saying you have to think about don't just go out and get the farm thing. That's like I tell people when you plant your gardens, don't just go plant the garden from Farmville. You have to think about what you're going to plant, and you have to think about what you can actually store and what you can actually do something with. You could have a whole row of bok choy, but if you don't know what to do with it, and it doesn't grow for very long, and you can't preserve it, it just think about what you're going to plant, and start looking into. See, I'm not really into row cropping, and some people do it, and they're very successful with it, but it's very intensive. You generally have to have a tractor. So we used raised beds in a lot smaller area, and we plant things closer together, but we try to improve the soil so that the soil helps them produce more. So there's so many things. There's so many things, Frankly, if I was out there and I was getting started, and I had the money, I would hire me. If there was a me when we started, I would pay whatever it took to hire me for a year or two to tell me what not to do, so that you don't spend 5 to 7 years planting the wrong trees and putting things in the wrong place and not growing the right things and all that. And then you get tired and it costs too much and you quit. Or the end of the world comes and you're not ready. All right, y'all. So my rant, which I'm going to conclude right now, is stress, not the kind of stress that gives you angina and heart disease and all that because you're worried about your HBO bill. I'm talking about stress, physical, environmental stress is good for the mechanism. So is hardship. People who choose to engage in hardship and choose to engage in stressful things deliberately. In other words, they're thinking about what it is that they want, and they determine that the hormetic effect is going to improve them if they choose the hard thing. Choose the hard thing. Not just because it's hard, but choose it deliberately by thinking about it and what it's going to do to help you and your family. Would your children be better off if they suffered hardship, if they suffered some stress, if they had to go out and milk at 4 o'clock in the morning, if they had to go do things that were difficult, they had to go dig post holes when they don't want to do it? Or would they be better off if you just gave them whatever they want and they never had to suffer any hardship? You already know the answer to that, but you apply it to your children, but you don't apply it to yourself. That's the hypocrisy of the modern world. That's the end of the rant. That's what you got for today, and it was free. So everybody, I want you to smash the like button. I want you to subscribe. You get this every night. It's kind of cool. Maybe, I don't know if you like it. And I also want you to hit the bell icon, tell it that you want all the notifications, and keep showing up. Here's the challenge. I got 2 more things on my list real quickly. One more thing. We hit our 4,000 hours, and according to YouTube, they're already going through the process of monetization, which is great. Our next goal, which is completely arbitrary, is when I started this video, we had 1,686 subscribers, which is wonderful, but it's really, really tiny in the YouTube world. So our goal as a team in the Bunker Nation is to get 2,000. Then we'll up it to 5,000. But for right now, it's 2,000. And we're going to celebrate when we get 2,000. I don't know what we're going to do. Maybe I'm going to build myself a cake, or maybe I'm going to build y'all a cake and then let you see it. Or maybe I'm going to do something special, or maybe I'll eat 30 eggs in one day, or maybe I'll walk 100,000 steps in a day. But we're going to celebrate when we hit 2,000. Here's what you can do. There's got to be somebody out there that thinks like you. There's got to be someone out there that's interested in the things you're interested in. There's got to be somebody out there who you talk to about this stuff. What you need to do is get them to subscribe to this channel. Tell them about it. Share the videos. Just give them the rant from today and say, hey, watch this guy and then subscribe. We want to hit 2,000. I don't have a deadline, but we want to hit 2,000. That's the only way we're going to grow this thing. The Bunker Nation group needs growth. All right. The respirator will not create a tight seal with a beard. It will work much better without the beard because then it can form a tight seal. I don't know why you keep saying that. I'm not wearing it to keep from getting COVID. I'm wearing it because of the allergies. I don't think oak pollen is climbing up my beard into my nose. I'm not going to shave my beard for that. I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't apply. I'm out here on 40 acres by myself. I'm wearing this because of the pollen that's in the air. And the other thing is the people, and you're completely right. I'm not saying you're not right. I'm saying it's not applicable. The people that are out there that are saying this doesn't work, that doesn't work, it's like it's a binary thing, like it either works or it doesn't work. That's not true. There are better things and then there are worse things, but they can both work. You have to describe what work means. If there's a million of the virus particles and I'm not wearing anything and it gets blown in my face and I got 100,000 of them get up my nose, that's pretty bad. But if there's a million of them and they get blown in my face and I have this on, but I have a beard and 5,000 of them get in my eye and some of them get on my beard, and eventually it's still a smaller amount. It's a smaller amount. You can't tell me that it's the exact same amount if someone's got a bandana tied around their head, which doesn't seal, as when someone's wearing this. It's not the same amount. Yeah, it works better. That's my whole point. It works better without a beard. Duh. I understand that. I'm not giving you a hard time. I'm just saying I'm not wearing this to stop COVID. I'm wearing it because I got allergies, and I'm not going to shave because I got allergies. And it is better to do something rather than nothing. That's my whole point. So now you guys got me climbing up on 1 hour, and that's too long for a video. All right, everybody, thank you for being here. Make sure you go down in the description. If you buy anything on Amazon, even the stuff that's not in my list down there, click on one of those buttons, go to Amazon and buy it through there. Doesn't cost you any more, but I get like pennies. I don't know. You know, some amount of money that helps. But if you just like to make a direct donation, go down there and click support Michael. Go do it. And then go and the best way to do it through Facebook Messenger, because there's no fees either way. Send me some mail. My address is down there. Send me some mail. I like to read your poem or read, just say hi, or like the one I got today just was talking about, hey, this is what I'm learning. This is what I'm doing. I got to go. I love y'all. Been too long, but I'll, Lord willing, I'll see you at 7 p.m. tomorrow. Same time, same channel, all that. Bye bye.